What I'm going to focus on now is just what the hell is smart spaces? You've probably seen our stand downstairs. Some of you have recognised a smart building operating system. Others are, what on earth do they do? And so I'm going to show you. So this is our smart spaces app. It's both for landlord and enterprise. And the homepage of the app is the social wall. The social wall is where you communicate to your employees exactly what's happening in the business. It could be as mundane as one of the lifts is down, or it could be as exciting as the staff party. And you can register through the app. You can send your visitor invites with a QR code, and that QR code can be shared through WhatsApp, through any kind of messaging system. It doesn't have to just be email. And that, when you arrive in the building, also allows you to purchase a coffee. It also allows you to call the lift. And we have this deployed we've got this deployed in around 60 million square feet now. So it's a lot of buildings. A lot of those buildings in the backdrop there utilise our system for access into their buildings. We have our native meeting room booking system. We also integrate with third parties. But I suppose the killer features of our own platform is that we integrate with sensors like Point Grab that are on our stand downstairs. And so we optimise the room booking experience. So if you don't show up to your meeting after 10 minutes, we release that back into the inventory. We actually create a report for the facilities manager to understand who's abusing the bookings, who's booking a 10-person room for 2 people, who's got a series of meeting room bookings that no one shows up to. And we can optimise that space. And the whole idea is to get more value from your real estate. You'll find that our clients in London, 22 Bishopsgate is a great case study where our client Beazley, an insurance group, multinational, they, when we first started working with them, they had a one-on-one desk ratio. They had 500 desks, 500 people. They are now at 900 people utilising their office space. And so the return on investment they're getting, they're saving them £1.2 million a year in rent. And that's down to our software optimising the booking system for desks and for meeting rooms. We also connect into all of the IoT sensors in the space, so we can give you live air quality, and we're going to delve into that a little bit deeper in a second. For our out-of-town buildings, car parking is a big challenge, so we offer car park booking. And so the workflow there would be, you book your desk and then it'll ask you whether you want to drive in. If you want to drive in, it'll ask you if you want to book a car parking space. But before you book that space, it'll show you your team members are also travelling in from your hometown, and you can choose to car share. So we're trying to optimise that experience where, sadly, councils will not grant you more car parking spaces. You really need to sweat that asset effectively. We have our desk booking, which is also integrated into the Point Grab sensors, so we can see no-shows. The sensors are getting more sophisticated all the time, where now, if someone leaves their coat on the back of the their coat on the back of the desk, or back of the chair, we can see whether someone's squatting that desk as well. And if someone leaves their laptop there, for instance, and then you've just got insight whether you want to release that back into the inventory or whether you accept that as a check-in. We also have the QR code check-in, and we also have the mobile access, and recently we've become the first company in Europe to have Apple Wallet access. And so if you come down to our stand downstairs, we'll set you up with a sample Smart Spaces app, and you'll get your Smart Spaces Apple Wallet card, and you can use that to access the space. You can use that to access your locker. You can use that to log into your PC. You can use that for smart vending, and you can get your free coffee with it too. And so we certainly aren't too precious about just the mobile experience. The tapping experience is very powerful too. And we're happy to, it could be voice activated, it could be an Alexa. The interface, the app is a very neat way to wrap these functions up, but our system sits in the cloud. So it doesn't matter whether it's a smartphone, it's a browser, it's an Alexa, it's an Apple Wallet card, we can still utilise the functionality in our cloud environment. The smart building side of it, which come later. So we originally developed a meeting room booking system for Marriott hotels, and that was our sophistication around meeting room booking, optimising spaces. But they asked us to start integrating controls into the meeting room booking system for them. And that's when the smart element really came into our platform. And so one of the key ones we got asked about during lockdown was air quality. And we'd already had an air quality sensor added to our platform, but it's quite rudimentary. And what we found with COVID, obviously the key metric everyone was looking at was CO2, because that was a great measurement of how often the air was changing in a space. Because we had implemented the air quality control in our app, so we have read-write access to the BMS, we actually can influence the amount of fresh air going into a space based when someone walks into a room. And so that allowed us to stop providing fresh air to spaces that are empty, but provide increased fresh air to spaces that are occupied. And it's just a really neat, simple way to save energy. But post-COVID, the CO2 obviously is great in terms of keeping concentration levels high, but the one we've really focused on now is called particulate matter 2.5 microns. And this is the pollution that diesel cars emit. That's why there's such a penalisation where we have ULEZ. And we really monitor that. And the great advert for any office owner, any grade A office owner, is that there's hardly any apartments in London at all that have an air handling unit, so the air's not filtered in these spaces. So if you have an apartment, even in Canary Wharf, it's very unlikely that you've got filtered air. If you can't open your windows, you'll have filtered air, but if you can, it's very unlikely they've put that ventilation in. And that means that you're breathing these particles. And so the reason for having this in the app is that we actually showcase that back to the tenants of the building, and we partner with a company called 444 Digital, plus a host of other screen providers that showcase this. And we are seeing, on average, especially in the West End of London, up to 20 times better air quality in the office than outside or in your apartment. So it's a metric that we should pay attention to. We also measure PM1, and we also measure PM2, 10, sorry. 10 is almost visible like dust, and so we have that in terms of looking at patterns when the cleaner goes around, for instance. We can see that on our analytics. The in-app controls, these are quite funny in terms of everyone says, everyone's going to fight over controlling their space, but as the product's developed, we've got lots of users using this platform. We now have a democratic mode where we take the average of what people are requesting in the space, and we actually map on our desk booking plan the temperatures of different zones, and you can choose if you want to sit in a cool zone or a warm zone, a noisy zone or a quiet zone. We also have much more sophisticated lighting now, where we can actually dim the light above our desks. I'm glad to see one of our esteemed software developers in the room. They all like to work in the dark in our office. If you come over to our HQ in Aldgate, you look out of our meter room, we've got quite a nice raised meter room that looks down onto the floor plate, and they will just dim the lights down to the brink of actually being off. We don't actually enable the off function for health and safety, but if they could, I'm sure they'd have it switched off. We also have circadian rhythm, so you can actually tune the lights. That will follow the sun, and so the colour temperature of the light in the space will follow the sun throughout the day, which is to help with your mood. Everyone who's got our app overrides it. No one likes the stark kebab shop lighting. If you go into the lower ranges of the Kelvin, around 2,400, it's very stark. It looks like a kebab shop or a Tesco's. And yeah, it's not very nice to work in. Everyone gets down to the warmer shades around 2,400. Now, every office company we're working with at the moment, they're all looking to save energy, but the challenge they've got is the landlord doesn't have full control of what the tenant does. And so the first thing to do is to show the tenant exactly how green they are in their space or how bad they are. And we have some buildings where one tenant will use twice the energy consumption of another tenant on another floor due to bad behaviour. They'll override the interstitial blinds that are there to protect from solar gain. They'll set the AC at 16 Celsius day in, day out. And by creating benchmarks and really truly showing how bad they are, and we don't name and shame, we don't tell the others who they are, the landlord knows, but they don't, it really helps improve behaviour. And we really hope over time, it's funny, the public companies are all really good. It's the private companies that take the mickey when it comes to the energy consumption. Keeping an eye on this clock here. So, because our app touches on so many parts of the daily life of an office occupier, so we integrate lighting, HVAC, which also includes BMS, we integrate the energy meters, we integrate the occupancy sensors, we integrate the user content, what events are on, what people are ordering in the cafe. We have a full food ordering function within our app. We have the loyalty in our app. We have which desks they book on which day. We've got a very, very holistic, rich data set. So much so that some of our customers, like 3 Mobile, are chucking out 2 terabytes a month in terms of the data that we're storing in our cloud. So much so that we've now got a data fair use policy in our platform where they can choose how long they want us to archive that data. Now, the key to that data I'll be brutally honest, everyone here comes up here and boasts and says, well, we're AI enabled and stuff. We've toyed around with machine learning in AWS, but it's only got to this point now where we've got so much data that we are taking the human practices we've been doing in terms of integrating this data and creating dashboards and hired our head of AI to actually replicate that. I feel bad for some of my team because they probably feel that they're getting replicated in terms of a job, but we just can't scale with the amount of data we have if it's human interrogation throughout every single analytics platform that we deploy. And I've just gone over by 10 seconds. So look, if you want to learn more, I'm downstairs. So downstairs, we've set up the full digital twin of our stand, and we can show all this stuff in action. We've got a demo app we can put into your hands. You can try out the Apple Wallet functions, the desk booking functions, the lighting control functions. So shameless pitch for my stand, but if you want to come down, you can't miss it. And I'll hopefully see you when I'm on stage at 2:30. So thank you very much. Cheers.